Hello and welcome to ZgermanGuy Reviews. I'm ZgermanGuy. Time for some stupid cars with stupid people inside. I did a review of another car-based movie some time ago, Manta. It was a dumb film drowning in 90s energy. Now, you're probably reading the title of today's feature and think, wait a minute. To which I respond, shut up, I'm doing the thinking around here. I kid, of course. No, your thought is correct, just not in the way you think. You would think these films are somehow set in the same universe, that this is a prequel or rip-off, but the truth is more bizarre. Not only did these films come out the same year, they came out a few weeks apart from one another. And when they did, they had a sort of competition going on between them for a while, where Manta would defeat this one eventually. Because in this country the quality and expectations of our movies are so low that all we can ever hope for is some mud wrestling. That is what passes as cinematic events here. Why was there a sudden demand for brainless driving around in a car model that would usually be reserved for your opponents in the starting zone of a Need for Speed game? The heck if I know. One of those mysteries of life. What I can tell you is that we are going to watch this sucker now and hopefully get some fun out of it. We begin the movie with a pretty lady late at night in the subway station, when suddenly a car shows up and it's filmed as if she was hunted by a murderer with a knife. Kudos for putting a creative spin on a setup that has been done a million times. I must admit though, the Halloween movies would feel very, very different if Michael Myers was just a truck silently teleporting behind people. The young miss gets saved by a guy named Fred, but before he can enjoy the spoils of victory, he is woken up from his dream by his teacher in driving school. I mean, if I had to choose a class to get a boner for all to see, it would be definitely this one. Like, I'm only stuck with them for about 3 months, and it's not like as if there are any driver school reunions. To which I wouldn't go anyway. He tries to get a date with one of his classmates, but he fails due to a combination of shyness and him being not the brightest light bulb in the store. At home, we meet Fred's douchebag father. Afterwards, he drives around on his motorbike to deliver magazines. We cut to these bumholes drooling over the girl Fred is having a thing for. I see these types of characters in older movies all the time. Was this what life was like before the internet? Just an army of hungry wolves being a scourge upon the land? They switch out a male and female sign on the door to the shower so they have an easier way to spy on them. Of course the intention here is awful, but if they left out the last part, could it be considered trans activism? Fred becomes the knight in shining armor, leading to the girl named Tina giving this goofball a try. Suddenly the guys from a car club play a prank on the Manta drivers. Sheesh! Have you all been in Vietnam? So, like, every time around New Year's Eve when selling fireworks is legal, do you just buy a bunch of boxes for the next 12 months in advance? Of course the gang won't let this insult stand, and so they go after them. A dude and his doll end up in the river swimming for a while, and then getting back to the chase. Proof that technology only gets worse in time, not less. Part of the reason of this is because at the time these cars were built, we still had a Cold War going on, and the West still had to prove that it was the superior system with superior products. Today? Pfft, pay $50,000 for this bucket that a monkey pooped into. The hunt comes to a sudden end when the government makes a photo of everyone and the police orders them to stop. What? Really? You already broke the law 7 times over, but when a man of authority shows up, you put your tail between your legs? Well, then the solution to crime is pretty obvious, isn't it? Have a policeman at every single corner. A state of police, if you will. They get all punished, but they were considerate enough to pay in cash up front. Yes, reckless drivers cause thousands of accidents every year, but look at it from this side. Without the extra tax revenue, your infrastructure would even look worse. Fred carries his girlfriend up the hill to be a bit romantic and shit. The next day, the young man and his family are at a celebration party for a car sale, where our young man is the lucky winner of a brand new car. And what else could that be than a Manta? At his birthday, he receives a bunch of stereotypical Manta driver presents from his family, making him feel mocked. We laugh at you, not with you. So, quick explanation about this. Back in the 90s, there has been this long ongoing joke that Manta drivers are these backwater Neanderthals. Kind of like how yo mama jokes go. Okay, bad example because those are all true. What's funny is, on the back of the DVD, the story is described as Fred having to deal with discrimination. But until these 2 movies, I actually never heard of any of these jokes before, nor did I knew that they were even a thing. I guess when my country discriminates, we only ever stop when the people who are the target are fully erased and forgotten about. We're efficient. Thinking that his girlfriend will be embarrassed if her boyfriend drives around in a car that is the symbol of stupidity, he tries to sell it, upon which the salesman tells him plainly no. It turns out, Tina does actually have a problem with Fred having this type of car.
Entweder du wirst diese Prollkiste wieder los oder mich.
Okay. Kick her to the curb. If a person is that superficial that they can't look past the fact that a car is just a car, then that's not a person that you need in your life. I never understood judging someone by the stuff he owns in the first place. I mean, the actual stuff itself is unimportant. If a kid in school teases you for your school bag, it's not because of the bag, but because they want to annoy you in some way. Anyway, Fred tries to appease his girl, but to no effect. At the disco, the bouncer rips him off for driving a Manta, and once inside, the DJ publicly makes fun of him. Lord in heaven! I didn't believe it at first, but maybe this movie should be all in black and white, underscored with the music of Schindler's List. All of this is too embarrassing for Tina, which is why she goes with the leader of the other car club. He happens to be a photographer, and makes some sexy pictures with her. Fred looking in from the outside and thinking his girlfriend is cheating. The guy, in his anger, scratches something mean on the other dude's car, which Tina sees, making her even more angry at him. Our Manta hero then had finally enough and just wants to burn this object that caused him nothing but distress. But then out of nowhere another car shows up, pushing his out of the way and disappears back into the night. Was that some kind of spiritual vision? Did the hand of God act on behalf of car kind? And no, I swear to you, I'm not making this up. This other car shows up, pushes the other one aside, and is never seen again. We never even find out who the person was who drove it. Whenever there's an oil spill, I will be there. Whenever there's a flat tire, I will be there. I have many names. But you can call me the mechanic. Wait, hold on. This is the car from Fred's dream. And with the dark windows and everything, it seems like no one is driving it, implying it's a living being. There just happens to be a conscientious car in this universe, saving his brethren from certain death. I don't understand. Please help me understand. I have gone over this inside my head several times now, and I can't find another explanation. Why else would this car show up, save the Manta from the fire, and then just leave without saying anything?
We must be collectively losing our minds.
Losing our minds. Losing our minds.
Losing our minds! Losing our minds! Losing our minds!
Fred then accepts that he just won't get rid of his vehicle, so he decides to embrace it and joins the Manta Club. Gather around, my children, and listen to these words, for a revelation has been given to me. I have become a born-again car owner. The boss of the other car gang, pissed about the damage caused to him, goes on the attack, having the wheels of the Manta people stabbed. Oh crap! The leader of the Manta group says this can't go on like this. They will have a race to settle this once and for all, to decide who is the coolest and awesomest around. You could say they are going to have a race war. Tina, meanwhile, is trying to get the photos back so that the guy can't make any copies and sell them.
14. Nee.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Tina believes the lie that she is being told, that Fred is the one who bought the photos as a form of revenge, which is why she later joins the other dude in his car during the race. Speaking of which, this finale feels so familiar with the one from Manta Manta that I genuinely expect the two movies to meld into each other at this point like a Mel Brooks movie. Fred crashes but quickly gets back into the race, driving on two wheels while the song Final Countdown blasts through my headphones. Remember when we played certain music not ironically? It warms my heart. Can you imagine that in 20 to 30 years from now the theme song of the Avengers is going to be played for laughs? It's going to happen. Yet another accident occurs, where Fred's opponent crashes. And this time it's serious. Okay, who copied whose homework? Fred one final time becomes a hero and saves Tina, ending the race with no clear victor.
They're both losers! Losers!
And so the movie ends with Fred carrying his princess on his arms. Even though she doesn't deserve it. At all. Anyway, all is forgiven and they kiss. This movie is absolutely dumb. But just like its twin brother, it's an enjoyable kind of dumb. I have to say though, Manta Manta was more fun, because on some level it was self-aware enough to not take its own premise too seriously. But it is amazing to see that this type of movie that usually gets infinitely parodied played unironically for once. What I mean is, several scenes specifically concerning the low point of Tina's and Fred's relationship are filled to the brim with melodramatic music. Guys, we don't care about any of that. Show us cars going broom broom. Manta Manta and Manta were both rated among critics on the same level. And it's true, these two films are basically clones, but one is definitely a better clone. Or the original. Or the clone that thinks it's the original. Manta Manta was focusing at all times on what really matters. It's admirable that it tries to be more than what it is, but it comes across like someone singing a Valentine's poem in a strip club. Not the right place or right time. Other than that, if you like dumb Manta Manta jokes, there's plenty of that here too. And now that this video is over, I will never ever have to talk about this car model in any shape or form. How? How? Who asked for this? Why?
We're not gonna make it, are we?
people, I mean.
It's in your nature to destroy yourselves.